Guys, korang just bayangkan. Just bayangkan. Tak lah. So, korang bayangkan korang tak ada kerja, tengah cari kerja. Sekali member korang picit lah. Cakap, bro, aku ada kerja lah. It's for a big project lah. It's for a construction company. And habis korang pun macam tengah tak ada kerja apa. So, korang macam, boleh lah, aku angkat lah. So, kau pula picit member kau yang tak ada kerja tu. Sekali dia pun cakap, okay lah, sembarang lah, aku buat dengan kau lah. Kita kerja sama-sama lah. So, the next day tu korang turun site. Korang jumpa supervisor dia. Gerbak-gerbuk korang start kerja. So, after 2 months, right, korang witness deaths. And not one death. It's a few. So, korang macam realise like, so macam banyak kematian sia. So, later on, you found out that these deaths, they were not accidental. It was actually sacrifices. Yeah. And later did you know, you were actually groomed to be the next sacrifice. Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog. Okay, so as you can see, aku nari seorang. Ryan dengan L tak ada sebab Ryan tengah tak sihat. So L pula dia tengah busy dengan kerja hari event lah. So I thought why not buat seorang. Aku tak pernah buat seorang, ni first time aku. So sorry kalau ada apa-apa kekurangan nanti later on any parts of the story. First time kan, so yalah, forgive me. And I'll try my best. Okay, I'm not gonna waste time lah. Let's get right into the stories lah. So I got 2 stories. Aku ada 2 cerita ni. Dua-dua pasal tumbal proyek. So proyek ni actually project. Dalam Indonesia they call it project. So in our language, of course we call it project. Tumbal ni sacrifice. So from there korang dah macam, uish, project sacrifice project, tak tahu lah either one lah. So this is the first story lah. Okay, so basically aku bilang korang these 2 stories yang aku nak bilang korang ni, aku dapat daripada Lentera Malam from YouTube. So kalau korang nak ada full story kan, korang pergi dengar dorang punya story lah. 2 jam, sejam lebih layan lah. Best. So okay, let's get right into the stories lah. So the first story is about this guy named Aziz. So Aziz ni dia tengah cari kerja, apply sana sini tak dapat. So one day one of his friend called, nama dia Bebol. So this Bebol call Aziz, cakap, Aziz, aku ada lubang lah bro kerja. But it's for a construction company and this is for a big project lah. Tapi si Aziz ni pun tak cari kerja apa. So dia macam, boleh lah bro, aku tengah cari kerja lah. So why not aku angkat lah. Aku ajak kawan aku aku ajak saudara aku So dia pun call cousin dia. Macam cousin dia nama Rizal lah. So ni Rizal pula cakap, sembarang lah bro, aku pun tengah tak ada kerja siul. Habis diorang pun macam, okay jom lah kita kerja sama-sama. So si Aziz ni, yelah standard lah, kita dah dapat kerja ni, kita pun nak minta restu, minta ibu bapa kita pada doa kan. So dia pula pergi berbual dengan mak dia. So dia cakap dengan mak dia, Bu, I already got a job. Aku dapat kerja for a construction company for a big project. The project is macam untuk this, they want to build the biggest mall in Jakarta. Habis mak dia macam, alamak, mak dia very reluctant tau. Pasal this is the reason why she's reluctant, because dia dengar banyak cerita pasal orang jadi tumbal dalam proyek-proyek ni semua. So Aziz macam, tak lah mak, itu semua cerita orang je. These are all stories. Tak mau dengarkan sangat. I mean, kita just like, banyakkan doa, rely on Allah and stuff like that. So bapak dia pun cakap lah dengan mak dia, pujuk lah macam, tak apalah, biarlah dia kerja, dia pun dah besar, let him work. Dia dah besar. Lagipun tahun depan dia nak kahwin. So this is what he needs right now to work. So mak dia, Walaupun dia macam reluctant. So dia macam cakap okay lah kau pergilah kerja, tapi jagalah diri kau, banyakkan doa, jangan lupa solat ni, all those stuff lah mother say to the sons. Okay, so the next day tu diorang berangkat. Dia berangkat, diorang caw pergi Jakarta. So dia jumpa supervisor dia kat site lah. So supervisor dia ajak jalan-jalan around the area, the place, the site. Besar gila lah. Dah nama biggest mall in Jakarta kan. So dia jalan. So diorang were given a place to stay, then they can start work immediately lah. Kerja. So kerja for 1 month. For 1 month, right? After 1 month, Aziz macam semua okey je. Yang apa mak aku dengar ni semua cerita je lah, orang berbual-bual kan. So kerja. So comes the second month, bro. The second month dia kerja. That's where he witnessed a death of a colleague. So dia tengah kerja kan. Okay, aku bilang korang dulu, dia kerja dia buat apa tau. Dia electrical installer. So barang-barang elektrik semua dia buat lah kat for that building. Not semua dia buat lah, ada team lah kan. So dia tengah buat kerja. Sekali one day kan, dia nampak one of the workers there tau. Dia kenal orang ni. So worker dia ni jalan slow, steady, just relax. So that guy he saw, dia tengah approaching one of the scaffolding itu. So macam biasalah, kau nampak members mesti kau tegur apa. Dia cakap, "Mas, kau nak pergi mana? Bro, kau nak pergi mana tu? Kau nak pergi mana tu?" But the funny thing is this guy turned to him. He didn't speak in the normal bahasa Jakarta, bahasa Indonesia diorang tu. He was speaking to Aziz in Jawa. He said, "Ora usah melu-melu." Dia cakap gitu. It means jangan masuk campur, something like that lah. So dia ni macam pelik lah. Sial lah, ni pelik siapa berbual aku dalam bahasa Jawa, like tak pernah sial. Tiba. So without thinking too much kan, dia just continue kerja dia. So dia nampak brother ni, dia panjat tu scaffolding. Sekali lah berapa minit, dia dah nampak brother tu kat tingkat 3 tau. And he fell. That worker jatuh tu. Pam! Mati lah bro. Meninggal. So bila dia nampak, macam of course lah, bila kau nampak kematian macam ni mesti kau terkejut. So dia macam siulah apa siapa ni, But this is where he realised something is not right lah. Dia suspect lah. Usually bila ada kematian, korang akan call ambulance, and then the police will come, all the orang-orang yang handle ni lah. All these deaths, right? Standard no ambulance and police lah. But then tak ada ambulance, tak ada police. So what they do is angkat mayat, clear the area. Diorang akan tabur pasir atau air, siram air, bunga, dah. And after all that, dia punya security guard told them all, yang orang yang nampak ni semua, yang dah berkerumun kat situ, cakap dengan dia orang macam, dah tak ada apa-apa, korang pergi continue kerja. So macam fishy lah kan. Kalau aku kena aku macam apa sih ni, why you all didn't call the ambulance? Or maybe aku might think like, okay, maybe diorang will call the ambulance later or what lah kan, tak nak masuk report ke apa, tak tahulah kan. So dia continue kerja as per normal. Kerja. So ni dah second month tau yang dia kerja. Dah start to witness all this. So after that one day, okay, dia punya apa ni, supervisor tanya dia, Aziz, kau nak OT lebih tak? Kau nak OT tak? Habis korang ingat tadi aku cakap dengan korang yang dia nak kahwin the next year kan. So inside his head was, despite all this aku rasa dia macam okay, aku pun I need more money, next year aku nak kahwin. So he decided to do OT lah, dapat duit lebih opportunity ni, So he decided to take the OTs. So dia pun OT start malam. So one day dia ajak Rizal juga. Dia mana-mana dengan Rizal mana. So dia ajak Rizal. So that one night Dia naik motor nak pergi kerja OT, nak OT apa. So dia naik motor. Sekali from far dia dah boleh nampak the site atau the building semua kan. So at one of the floors he saw lampu terang benderang tu, terang gila. So and bukan setakat terang tau. So dia nampak banyak orang kat tu tingkat. So macam wah nak hari banyak orang OT saya. Aku ingat aku dengan Rizal je saya. So dia macam thinking tu ramai gila tu. Macam so dia orang macam okay at least ada orang lah, kita boleh buat kerja kita, buat ada members apa. So dia park motor dekat luar, dia masuk, dia jalan. Dia naik. So bila dia tengah naik, dia dah sampai tu level kan. That level yang dia nampak terang menerang tu. So dia nampak orang-orang macam construction lah. Dia dengar perbualan diorang, tapi he cannot make out like what they were talking about because the language they use is just not, is very foreign to them. You know, macam pelik gila bahasa diorang. So diorang pun macam I don't think too much lah. So dia naik lagi satu tingkat, dia buat kerja dia. Dia buat tengah buat kerja. So dah habis tau. Dah habis kerja diorang. Dah habis kerja diorang pun turun. Bila diorang turun, gelap sia. Gelap. Semua orang tak ada. So basically dia dengan Rizal je kat situ. So dia dah turun, dia pun macam pelik. Sulah, diorang dah balik. I mean diorang ramai gila sia. Kalau diorang balik pun mesti mekak ke. And because they are that level kan, above theirs, yang level atas diorang yang ramai-ramai tu kan. Misalnya kita tingkat 3 lah, diorang tingkat 4 lah, Rizal tingkat 4. So kalau diorang balik ramai-ramai pun, kau boleh nampak kat luar tau yang akan ada this group of people tu balik sama-sama. But the thing is diorang tak nampak orang pun. And it's totally silence tau. So macam takkan tak dengar apa-apa sebab diorang balik. But okay lah, you know what, tak nak fikir banyak lah. So diorang pun pack barang diorang. Diorang dah pack barang, pack. Sekali dia turun dengan Rizal. Dia pergi kat motor. So bila dia pergi kat motor tu, dia nak start engine motor, tak boleh start tu. Tak boleh start. Pelik lah, kenapa tak boleh start. Tadi okey lah, elok je. So tengah fikir si Rizal pula, si Aziz ni pun pusing. Dia tengok the building yang he was from lah. Guess what? Bila dia pusing, dia tengok tu building tingkat 3 tu terang balik tu. Terang. And dia nampak ramai orang lagi. So dia macam apa siapa ni. But still dia tak nak fikir apa-apa, because his motive is to find more money, to earn extra money. So dia cakap Rizal, you know what Rizal, kau dah nampak yang terang nanti tiba. Can't say much. So si Aziz dengan Rizal ni pun tolak lah motor dia. Tolak until dia out of the area. So diorang start engine, boleh start balik. So macam basically dia out of the area kan, baru boleh start engine tu. Tu diorang macam tak fikir banyak. Diorang naik balik. So aku just fast forward lah So dah 3rd month, 4th month gitu kan. So he worked there for 3 to 4 months already. So basically he knows everyone there kan. So one day dia tengah on break tau. Dia nampak satu embar ni tu, pakcik lah. Tapi pakcik ni dia angkat besi macam tak ada apa-apa sih. Dia angkat jalan seorang. Dia angkat besi jalan seorang. Chill, kuat kerja dia. So dia macam kuat person ni pakcik, you know, without thinking too much lah. So one day dia tengah on break ni, pakcik ni datang kat dia. Pakcik ni duduk sembang. All he said was hati-hati kerja sini, banyakkan doa. Dia ni pun tak fikir banyak lah tak fikir banyak. And then so diorang continue kerja. Then another accident happen. Ni orang, aku just cut the story, the story short lah. Ada orang ni suar panjat. Kau tu macam ada tempat yang macam kau pacak benda tajam ni, besi-besi. So this guy just fell. Pam, dia jatuh. Tercacak siap. Daripada belakang leher dia, pam, keluar sini. Tu teruk gila. Again, after that death, diorang clear, siram air, tabur pasir, bunga. Then dah, korang kerja, jangan fikir-fikir, tak ada apa-apa, semua kerja. So dah benda ni dah jadi macam normal tu dia tahu. So okay, tak apa, dia kerja. So one time dia tengah jalan, yalah electrical apa, so he has to go install a lot of places. So there was one time dia tengah jalan, so there's this one area kan dia tak boleh masuk. Okay, it's called a sterile area lah. So but he heard while walking there, dia dengar ada orang pekik tolong tau, macam tolong gitu. So dia pergi kat security guard, dia cakap kau dengar ada orang pekik tolong kat dalam. Habis si security guard ni macam tak ada. Ni part ni, this area is sterile, kau tak boleh masuk. Okay, sterile area means macam kau need more like kau tak ada access lah, you know. There are certain people aja ada access, different personnel ada access to this area. So dia very security punya benda lah. So dia macam siapa pergi tolong sia. So that thing is already in his head, macam pergi siapa sia ni, sibut. Okay, tak apa, tak nak fikir bukan. So dia continue kerja dia, gedebuk. So just one day dia tengah chill break. So dia punya supervisor dia tiba-tiba datang kat dia berbual, kau jangan rehat kat sini, kau ikut aku lah. So dia tiba-tiba macam rasa asal dia ni baik gila sangat aku. Tiba-tiba aku pula banyak orang kat sini aku. So dia macam okay lah, nak rehat kat mana sah. Habis supervisor cakap, tak apa, kau ikut aku ajak kau. So dia ajak Rizal. Again Rizal is there. So dia bawa Rizal. Sekali dia ikut lah, dia supervisor dia ajak turun. So this time dia ajak turun basement. So diorang turun basement 1. Bukan, dia cakap okay, this not the area. Dia turun basement 2. And lastly they went to this basement 3. So basement 3 ni kan basically tak ada apa-apa, it's just piping besi and stuff like that. So supervisor dia cakap, okay Aziz, kau nak rehat, kau rehat sini lah. Kalau kau time kerja kau penat apa, kau turun sini, kau rehat. So at least aku tahu mana nak cari kau kalau ada apa-apa lah. So ni Aziz macam boleh lah, okay lah. So dia boleh rehat. So lama kelamaan bila dia rehat kat sana, every single time makin lama dia rehat situ, dia macam makin suka tempat tu. Dia macam suka macam syok bersih sini, tak ada orang kacau ke apa kan. So dia just rehat je duk. Rehat makin suka sama tu. Habis si Rizal ni membontok dia. So but one day diorang tengah rehat, tengah tidur kan. Sekali ni Rizal ni terbangun. Dia ternampak benda. I don't want tell what first. So dia dah bangun, ternampak. Then dia kejut si Aziz ni. Aziz, bangun lah bro, tak mau tidur sini lah, tak syuk lah, macam pelik lah tempat ni. Dia naik. Tapi Aziz ni macam very dia macam tak nak lah bro, aku suka sial, sini aman lah siul, sini just very quiet, aku nak rehat lah, jangan kacau aku lah, kau nak naik lah. Habis ni Rizal pula macam cousin kan. So macam tak apa bro, kau naik dulu, kau naik. Macam alamak ada ni So Aziz pun macam ikutkan naik. So kau ingat tak yang pakcik tu aku cakap? So every time like something is about to happen, this pakcik will always appear out of nowhere. And he will always say the same thing to Aziz. Hati-hati kerja, banyakkan doa. Every single time something is about to happen. So macam every time he witness macam death ke, you know, stuff like that, that pakcik will always be there to just remind him. So dah kerja 4-5 bulan gitu kan. So dia realise kan, dia start to think again macam dia ada pernah nampak this group of people, budak baru lah masuk. Tapi after a week kan, diorang hilang tu. Not the whole group lah, one of them or two of them, diorang hilang. So diorang macam, dia pun tanya like dia tanya supervisor dia macam asal ni budak-budak ni semua mana sih? So supervisor dia punya jawapan ni tukar site, tukar area, tukar team, something like that lah. Alasan dia banyak gila. Sorry. So dia macam okay lah, things start to get fishy already tau. So okay, kau ingat tak tadi aku cakap dengan kau Rizal ternampak benda kan? You know what he saw? He saw something very thin, tall, tangan panjang, kaki panjang. Benda tu tengah jilat badan Aziz. Jilat. Pasal aku rasa syok lah tidur kan, kena jilat tu. Like bahasa, I don't know. So yeah, so that's what he saw. That's why he woke Aziz up to go off, to get out from there. Jalan tak syuk tidur sini baca alasan dia bagi. So gerebuk dia kerja. Masuk ni dah 6 bulan tu. 6 bulan dia kerja ni. Ni dah 6 bulan So one day dia tengah, this is the incident that really woke him up. Dia tengah jalan, sekali out of nowhere there's this big structure bro, macam batu jatuh. Dia dongak, dia nampak, tapi he cannot move. But itulah dalam hati dia dah, maybe dah baca-baca ke apa kan, cannot move. So that thing just fell, boom. Tapi tak kena dia, tak kena tau. Then just jatuh berderai benda tu, just macam then dia macam shock tau. So at this point dia dah froze, and he can hear all these people talking, asking him, shouting at him, but he cannot move. Dia cannot move at all though. So dia dah in shock already, This thing was, kalau dia cepat setapak 2 tapak mesti dia kena. Dah shock kan. So dia macam, okay, aku rasa this is a good time for you to go home Kita balik So dia balik bro. Dia balik, he's still in shock tengah balik. Okay, so dia kat rumah dia punya tempat rental tu lah, tengah rehat. Sekali the embah, the pakcik came to visit him. So ni pakcik suruh bagi dia air tu. Air. Dia baca doa. So dia kasih ni Aziz pun minum. Aziz minum. Sebelum Aziz minum tu dia baca doa dulu. Dia minum, lepas tu dia tuang sikit, dia lap kat muka. And that's where he got flashbacks, visions like that. Flashbacks tau. So basically kan bro, guys, the flashback was different from what he saw physically. So kau ingat tak yang aku cakap dengan kau, this guy just yang berbual Jawa dengan dia tu, orang usah melu-melu tu kan. So so that point of time dia nampak lelaki ni just panjat, lepas tu jatuh, okay, meninggal. But in that vision it was different. He saw this guy climbing up. Dia tak jatuh tu, dia lompat. Poof, bam. So all the deaths that he saw semua bukan accidental tu. It's just dorang macam bunuh diri tu. Just lompat. Bukan jatuh lompat jatuh lain tau. So he saw that. So then dah nampak ni flashback ni semua. So the last vision, the last flashback he saw was when he experienced it. Bila benda structure macam batu tu besar jatuh kat dia kan. The flashback was he looked up. So when he looked up, dia actually nampak supervisor dia duduk kat atas. Yeah, that was the flashback he saw. Different from what he experienced though. The flashback was just different. So that point already he knows he had to quit. He had to resign. Tak boleh continue kerja situ. So dia dengan Rizal duduk sembang macam mana ni. So you know what, kita resign semua. Tak berbaloi saya kerja kat sini, habis cukup nanti kau pula jadi tumbal kan. So don't resign. Lepas tak balik kampung. Then this Aziz got married and stuff like that. But this thing happened in 2011. Okay, and it took him 15 years just to tell this story to people. And Rizal was supposedly to be in the podcast also, the video. Tapi because Rizal even after 15 years, dia rasa macam traumatized and he don't want to be on videos, or he just don't want to talk about it. Dia masih traumatized though. So this Aziz got this courage to just tell the whole bloody thing, or whatever happened. I mean, if you want to hear more detail, you listen to it. You watch the video, you listen to it. Banyak detail lah tu, banyak. It's very detailed. So yeah lah. So for him, the lesson was, macam kau nak cari kerja, but when you see this kind of things, don't stay lah. Kalau aku pun tak nak stay, korang nak ke? Cukup time korang do sacrifice ya. Aku tak nak do sacrifice lah. I just want to live, So yeah, that's about it. That's for the story number 1. bila aku dengar the whole story, wah, it's disturbing because these are real people who died. You know, it's not make up stories or what, but these are real people though, orang yang mati yang jadi tumbal. Just because the reason why they do all this, right, this tumbal thing, it's actually to appease the spirits ke apa-apa jin kat situ, so that everything goes smoothly. I mean, pada aku is salah bawa lah, kan. You don't do that shit lah, but yeah, apparently they did lah. So yeah, kalau korang nak dengar lebih lanjut, like macam detail, kau pergi lah Lentera Malam. Anyways, that's for the first story lah, you know. Okay, let's go for the second one. Second one, it's from this guy named Subhan. Subhan ni dia lain sikit. Dia he still works for, dia kerja untuk construction company, but dia punya kerja bukan buat ni project semua. Dia more to like the people admin lah ni semua. So this admin thingy lah. So this thing happened around 2018. So he works for this boss. Dia under this supervisor. So dia punya kerja is to do admin work ke procurement apa benda lah tu kan. So but from the get go bila dia start kan, boss dia je dah start to ask him to buy things. Okay, so basically the boss is into this kind of ritual thing. Dia selalu kalau nak buat ni ritual kan, dia akan suruh si Subhan ni beli ayam, daging ayam, darah ayam dengan daging babi hutan. Yes, daging babi hutan. So basically like for this darah thing, for the darah, diorang ada these 3 different things, right? Diorang ada objektif sendiri tau. For this darah dia ni untuk tabur dekat certain places tau. Dia tuang kat certain places of the site itself. And then for the daging pula, like daging babi ni, untuk letak, dia suruh macam untuk hancur-hancurkan, letak kat dia punya competitor. Kira macam gitulah, macam hantar barang lah gitu, something like that lah. Yeah. So the but then you know when you see this is wrong. But Subhan pula dalam otak dia, you know what, ni kerja aku, bos suruh aku buat lah. At the end of the day aku tahu aku dapat gaji. So the punya mindset is like already like that. Okay. So okay, berapa, I think 3 bulan gitu dia kerja, you know, things start to get weird. Benda pelik lah. So this is what his experience lah. So around so malam tu, I think around 8 PM, dia masih kat kerja dia kat kerja. So 8 PM gitu, dia punya, tak salah tempat dia tingkat 12. Subhan kat tingkat 12. Sekali masa nak turun tu, dia nak balik lah, konon dia nak turun nak balik tu, dia nampak macam ada bayang orang macam besar. Bayang orang besar jatuh daripada tingkat atas. Pum. And then dah just macam orang bunuh diri gitu lah, jatuh lah. So dia nak pergi check. Sekali dia turun, dia tanya security guard, kau tadi dengar kau tadi kau nampak tak orang jatuh? Habis security guard macam tak adalah, mana ada, tu bunyi pun tak ada, tak nampak badan pun, tak dengar orang pergi tolong ke apa-apa benda, tak ada pun. So it's already weird. Kalau orang badan besar jatuh mesti ada bunyi apa? Confirm ada bunyi. So dia tak dengar apa-apa, tak dengar bunyi. Security guard cakap tak nampak badan, tak dengar orang pergi tolong. Tempat, the area that supposed to be ada badan tu tak ada pun. So nothing. So dia turun, habis dia balik tu. Lepas tu dia lepak kat warung dia kan. Dia duduk, dia lepak kedai kopi tu, dia chill, order kopi kan, relax. Sekali cukup time, dia nampak satu pakcik ni datang duduk dengan dia, tanya boleh duduk tak kat sini. Subhan ni pun macam tak apa, duduk lah. Duduk. So duduk, si Subhan ni macam pakcik nak apa? Siapa saya beli lah, saya belanja pakcik ni minta kopi, tak nak gula. So order, air dah datang. Air si Subhan ni pun sampai dengan pakcik ni pun. Dia offer ni pakcik rokok, pakcik ni ambil rokok tu, tapi dia tak hisap. Tak. So dia berbual, dia sembang-sembang. Dia cakap dengan Subhan lah. Dia cakap dengan Subhan, apa, hati-hati kerja dekat tempat macam ni. Dia cakap just hati-hati je lah. So the weird thing is, every time dia macam, bila sebelum pakcik ni keluar, timbul I don't know akan ada bau bunga kantil ni tau. So bunga kantil ni, okay, aku check is cempaka lah. So bau bunga cempaka tu. So every time he come, ada bunga cempaka ni. So dia lepak duduk. Dia duduk chill. Habis pakcik ni cakap, hati-hati lah kalau kerja tempat macam ni. Tak fikir apa-apa. So ni pakcik pun gerak. Dia gerak macam biasa. So ni dia macam siapa pakcik ni? Out of nowhere datang kat aku cakap, hati-hati kerja tempat gini. So dia macam tak apa lah, tak fikir banyak lah. So continue kerja. Apa tu, nothing much happen actually. So kerja as per normal. So at some point bos dia akan suruh beli benda-benda tu lah, darah ke daging semua. Then dia lepak lagi. One of the days tu dia lepak lagi kat warung. So bau bunga ni keluar lagi. Ni pakcik ni datang, same thing. Beli kopi, kasih rokok, tak nak hisap. So dah pakcik tu gerak, tak fikir apa-apa, dia nak pergi bayar. So bila dia nak pergi bayar ni kan, ni di warung punya orang kan. So dia tanya, kau tadi berbual dengan siapa sah? Aku cakap, aku duduk dengan pakcik tu lah. Pakcik tu pernah datang sini duduk dengan aku. Habis ni orang warung cakap dengan dia, tak ada, dulu bila kau datang ni kau berbual seorang tau. Cakap, kau biar betul. Kau berbual seorang. Dia berbual seorang. Dia cakap macam, aku berbual seorang. Tak adalah, ada pakcik. Kau berbual seorang, kau ada 2 kopi, tapi aku tak tahu satu tu untuk siapa. Bila aku hantar kau tengah seorang. So I really don't know who you were talking to. Tapi aku tak nak fikir lah, tak nak cakap apa-apa lah kan. So dia continue kerja. That's where he start to think macam, pakcik ni siapa siap? Who the hell is this uncle? So dia tak nak fikir banyak, dia just continue kerja juga. And okay, you see the thing is right, this pakcik kalau keluar selalu ada bau bunga kantil ni. And the same advice will always be given to him. So one day he saw this pakcik. Okay, dia pakaian dia is always the same. Kemeja, kasut kerja dengan beg kerja. So dia tanya pakcik ni, after talking kan, dia tanya pakcik ni siapa? This pakcik answered him, nanti kau tahu siapa. So what the hell kan? Pelik kan? So tak apalah, dia kerja. So one of these days dia tengah kerja. So dia tengah kerja ni kan, dia nampak ni pakcik lagi. Okay, dia nampak ni pakcik. So apparently dia nampak pakcik ni kat tempat kerja dia juga. So pakcik ni cakap dengan dia, besok kau jangan balik lambat, kau balik awal. Macam okay. So dalam pukul 8 gitu, dia dah teringat lah, pakcik tu cakap jangan balik lambat. So dalam pukul 8 gitu, 8 lebih gitu, dia balik lah. Dia balik. Dia dah balik tu, dia tak balik terus tau. Dia kerja kira part time lah, Gojek ke apa benda lah, you know, whatever they do lah there for their part time. So tengah kerja, he received a call at 10:30 PM. Dia receive a call tu. So on the phone tu dia cakap, I think one of his supervisor ke apa ke cakap, aku need kau to come back to work. Dia macam, why? Nanti kau tahu lah. So bila dia sampai, he found out 4 of his worker. So dia kenal ni 4 orang tau. Dia kenal 4 orang ni. And these 4 workers passed away instantly tau. Why? Because okay, this is the story. Diorang tengah buat drilling untuk sampit tau. So habis ada air dekat kawasan drilling diorang tu. Habis equipment diorang terkena pula electrical fault. Boom. 4 worker kena electric shock, meninggal on the spot. So kesian lah. So after that Subhan settle lah sendiri. Call ambulance, ini hospital lah, insurance, hantar jenazah balik kat keluarga. So this thing, yeah. dia hantar kat apa tu, hospital lah. So see, the first story tak ada hospital, but this time ada ambulance semua. So he was affected because they were like friends to him. They were friends to him. Worker kau kan. So yalah. And then after that incident, 5 days later, that pakcik appeared again. This time he warned him. Dia cakap jangan kerana duit sanggup buat apa saja tau. Subhan macam finally really confronted him. Pakcik, sebenarnya pakcik ni siapa lah? I've been asking this myself for quite some time. Kau selalu timbul you know, like this question aku tanya kau selalu cakap nanti kau tahu sendiri, nanti kau tahu sendiri. But I really need to know what. Pakcik ni jawab lagi dok, nanti kamu tahu sendiri. Sudah fikir, dia tak nak fikir apa. But then he remembered the advice that the pakcik gave him lah. So the pakcik said, jangan kerana, you know, like jangan pasal kerja, pasal duit kau sanggup buat apa-apa lah kan. So tak lama lagi dia punya bos cakap, Dol aku ada ni projek baru lah. Macam biasa lah dia punya. Okay, so basically the project is like 2 acres of land. I think that's what they say. Yeah. So macam biasa, sebelum start project kau kena beli ni barang-barang, and then we go to Sukabumi. Sukabumi is a forested area kat West Java. Yeah, you don't want to get in detail, but it's at West Java. It's a land, it's a mountain area gitu lah. So dia pergi beli tu barang-barang semua. So the boss said, okay, kau pergi kerja sekarang, Nadi, kau pergi turun site tu, kau kena macam biasa lah, buat apa yang kau selalu buat lah. So when Subhan went there, malam lah of course, the claimant, this is what he saw in that area of land. Dia nampak banyak ular duk. Banyak ular. So kau dah nampak banyak ular, apa kau buat? Takkan kau terjun dalam, tak kan? Kau lari duk. So before he ran, dia campak tu barang-barang yang dia beli. Dia just campak aja tu. Tak buat apa-apa, just campak. Darah tu lah, daging babi ke, daging ayam, dia campak kat dalam. So dia campak dalam. Esoknya member demam tu. 3 hari sial member demam. So the first day dia demam biasa, macam demam. But the second day, dia punya badan tak boleh gerak tu. Tak boleh gerak. Dah macam cannot move lah. Cannot move. He knows he's conscious, but dia sedar tak sedar gitu lah. But in that situation, tu pakcik timbul lagi, but this time in his vision, you know, dalam mimpi. Dia cakap, kau janganlah ikut benda-benda gini ni semua, benda-benda gaib ni semua tak bagus. Jangan ikut pasal duit kau buat benda-benda bodoh ni semua, kan? Pasal dia cakap, everything you do here right now, yang this ritual is like there are repercussions, you know. It can, kalau dia tak affect kau, dia akan affect bini kau, dia akan affect anak-anak kau, dia akan affect, you know, your parents, your loved ones lah basically. So after that, Subhan just call ustaz, you know, tukang ruqyah ni datang ubatkan dia. So he recovered. So and then dia patah balik kerja tu. Dia patah balik kerja. So dia masih teringat that pakcik say all the advice, you know, takut nanti kamu pula jadi tumbal, you know, jangan pasal kerja ni, jangan pasal duit kau sanggup buat benda-benda bodoh, kan. So satu malam ni dia pergi office lah, sebab dia curious. So dia check atas meja bos dia tau. So dia check atas meja, sekali bro, dia ternampak gambar dia, gambar Subhan ni. He saw his own photo, and kat foto tu ada tulisan Arab yang dia tak faham, ada barang-barang lain. So dia macam, apa sia ni, you know, thinking like macam, betul ni tak boleh, aku nak kena confront bos aku. So the next day dia confront bos dia. Dia cakap, apa sia gambar-gambar aku, habis gambar aku satu ni ada ayat-ayat apa sia. So the boss said, kau kan sakit, aku cuma nak protect kau je. Tapi ni Subhan macam, you know what, aku tak percaya kau lah. Aku resign, aku berhenti kerja sekarang juga. I don't want to work anymore for you. So boss dia try to persuade dia macam, tak apalah, stay lah, you know. Okay, why not aku naikkan gaji kau. Habis Subhan macam nope, tak nak. Okay, then if like that, aku doublekan gaji kau. Misalnya gaji dia $3,000, dia double $6,000, kau tak nak. Tapi ni Subhan die don't want. Subhan cakap tak nak aku tak nak. So dia resign juga. So lepas dia resign ni, dia jadi rider tu. Dia jadi rider. And then dia bawa motor sekali. Got one time kau dalam pukul 11.30 malam gitu, he receive a booking. And then bila dia sampai to pick up, guess who was waiting for him? It's the pakcik misteri tu. Yes. So dia pakcik tu naik motor dengan dia. Subhan hantar dia pergi tempat yang dia book lah. The destination lah. Tempat dia is at Bintara, Bekasi dia. So this is where the pakcik, sepanjang perjalanan tu, pakcik tu ceritakan dia, okay, this is who I am. Okay. So pakcik tu cakap, dulu aku kerja kat tempat kau. I was working at this the place that you were working at. Aku kerja sebagai the construction ni lah, buat ni semua, bukan office admin, tak ada. So pakcik tu cakap, aku pernah jatuh daripada tingkat 3, kaki aku patah. Tapi instead of bringing me to the hospital, dorang bawa aku masuk satu bilik ni. So dorang tinggalkan aku berjam-jam tu kat dalam bilik tu. So dah berjam-jam tu, dia bawa. So he was brought to another place. This time his hand, his legs, his mouth, semua kena ikat. Basically dia kena ikat kat kaki, tangan dengan mulut dia. So, and he was being positioned like upright, kira tengah diri punya position, like diri, standing position. And then he was being buried alive with concrete. Kira kau tu yang apa tu, sebelum dia di konkrit tu, yang benda-benda cair ya. So batu-batu, yang bukan batu lah, cair tu lah yang dorang tuang, lepas tu lama-lama nanti dia batu. Tu lah, tu benda lah. So dia bilang si Subhan ni, anak bini aku semua tak tahu aku macam gini, you know. So dia minta Subhan tolong carilah family aku, you know. So basically this guy is already dead, and he was the tumbal. And so kebetulan si Subhan ni pula yang dapat nampak dia kan. So he said, okay, tolong aku need my family to know what's going on. So sampai after he reaches the destination, dia pusing, pakcik tu dah hilang. So pakcik tu dah hilang. Tengok sekeliling semua daerah kubur. And then dia dapat duit tu, duit fare masuk tu dalam 67,000 rupiah, 67,000 rupiah. So dia contact customer service, orang pun sendiri macam lost, macam the trip wasn't there, but that the money, so the trip didn't exist tau, but the money was being transferred. Kira duit tu ada, tapi the trip wasn't there. So macam, you know what, I gotta investigate. So dia investigate ni pakcik, dia balik tempat kerja lama dia check, saya ada check tempat apa ni kira employee lah, record semua kan. So dia tengok, dia cari gambar yang macam around 2016, 2017 gitu. Dia cari, dia jumpa tu pakcik tu, bukan nama dia, ada gambar muka semua. So he recognize that pakcik. And dia pergi the workers quarters, tempat tinggal orang. And dia jumpa tu the same thing, bag, kasut, kemeja. As how he saw that pakcik appeared to him, dia pakai bag tu, dia pakai kasut, dia pakai kasut dengan kemeja, same bloody thing. So habis workers kat situ semua cakap dengan dia, ini barang worker lama, dah bertahun dekat sini. So dia macam, you know what, okay, tak apa. Dia cari tempat yang allegedly yang he was buried lah. So dia cari, dia jalan, dia pergi check kat satu concrete area ni. Tiba-tiba tu, bila sampai tempat area tu, bau bunga cempaka kuat. He deep down, dia tahu, ini tempat dia kena tanam. But dia tak percakap konkret tu lah. Dia tak percakap, dia tak tahu, dia tak boleh verify that the body is in there. So semua ni account like his account, you know, macam dia punya his own words lah. Tu dalam video tu pun tak ada yang ada nampak mayat ke apa, tak ada. Dalam konkret tu tak ada. So he didn't percakap lah basically. So he tried finding the family members. Dia cari, ada dapat jumpa satu nombor. So nombor tu belong to his wife. So dia call, Dia call, dia jumpa dia ada 3 orang anak. So paling kecil pun 3 tahun. So he berbual dengan wife dia. So apa yang was given, apa yang they told the wife when the husband died, dia cakap hanyut dalam sungai masa nak balik tu. So badan tak dapat jumpa. So he he went down to Tegal. After that call, he went down to Tegal, tempat tinggal pakcik tu, arwah pakcik tu. So jumpa family tu, dia offer, okay jom lah, aku ajak korang anak beranak dengan kau pergi Jakarta. Okay, so dia bawa pergi tempat husband dia meninggal. Dia tunjuk, inilah tempat husband kau meninggal, and your husband used to work here. So dia cakap pakcik tu actually dia tak hanyut pun. He was being buried here with the concrete. Habis bini dia macam, tak mungkin lah. Dia cakap, they have to explain. Dia cakap, suami kau sini cari aku. Then something happened. Once he said that, daerah tempat konkrit yang dia was believed to be buried, bau bunga cempaka again. So isteri tak nampak apa-apa, anak-anak dia yang besar pun tak nampak. Tapi kau ingat tak, anak dia ada 3 orang, the last one 3 tahun. Dia nampak at one area to the point, Bapak. Budak tu nangis tu and keep pointing. Ibu dia tanya siapa tu, dia tunjuk sana, dia bapak. Habis dia macam, bapak mana? Bapak. So apparently that's the dia nampak bapak dia. So lepas tu dia ajak lah, after everything dia ajak family dia semua keluar. Yang dia arwah tu, pakcik tu family keluar. Dia tak nak traumatize the kids any further. Ajak jalan-jalan dekat Jakarta. Malam tu dia tidur. So when he slept, this time he saw the pakcik, but the pakcik didn't want him. All he said was terima kasih. So dia rasa macam amanah dia dah selesai. He helped the pakcik, stuff like that. And he got to see his wife, his kids again. So yalah, dia pakcik pesan, jangan buat benda yang melampaui batas. Jangan ikut jalan macam ritual-ritual tu. Dekatkan diri dengan Allah, dengan agama. So after all the incident in the dream, dia mimpi, dia cakap terima kasih, semua the advice given, dia dah tak nampak pakcik tu lagi. So yalah, tak nampak. So the lesson here for him, subhanallah, kau nak kerja kau boleh lah, tapi jangan sampai kau have to do stupid things just because bos kau suruh lah. So basically that's the end of the story. Aku cannot go in detail pasal cerita dia panjang gila tu. But then I hope you guys enjoy. I mean, this is my first time. Korang please lah, kalau ada any feedback korang boleh bagi, baik-baik, yang apa yang aku boleh perbaiki, just comment lah. Yeah, so that's about it. Lesson learned here is whatever you do, jangan sampai kau go over your religion. Kalau agama kita cakap jangan buat benda-benda gini, jangan buat benda-benda gini. Kadang-kadang yelah, duit ni kan boleh membutakan kita, but jangan sampai dia butakan kau dalam segi agama. Yeah, so thank you for listening, guys, and I hope you guys like this, And oh yeah, before I finish, apparently aku check, you guys know Benjamin Sheares Bridge, the long bloody bridge, right? This is an urban legend. I don't know how true it is. It's urban legend for a reason lah. So back then, right, in the 70s, 80s, ada banyak budak-budak kena kidnap, hilang tau. So they said the kids were being hanged under the bridge or something like that while they were building it. I don't know how they do it, tapi diorang cakap budak-budak ni semua tergantung kat bridge lah, kepala diorang bawah bridge ke something like that. Yeah, tumbal juga. I don't know. I leave it up to you to believe it or not. I mean, these are all stories. Anyone can make up stories. So Kalau betul, betul. Kalau tak betul, then leave it as it is. As a urban legend, And when you go somewhere, bila kau pergi mana-mana, masuk mall ke, tempat-tempat besar ke kan, korang bayangkan lah, who knows, below that building or mall or whatever, maybe ada tumbal kat bawah tu. As we speak, maybe ada juga tumbal-tumbal ni semua terjadi, kita tak tahu. Just leave it to your imagination. So, thank you for listening, guys. I see you guys soon. Thank you.